Thinking about buying a house in the country? I know some of our buyers are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Bonnie Barnes with Cisco Realty, serving the greater Grand Lake area.
I'm Lindsay Toy-Swick, realtor with Cisco Realty.
And today we're going to talk about buying in the country versus buying in the town and what really matters.
Yep, there's a couple little differences.
Most definitely. One of the big things is water.
Yes.
When you buy in the country, you have a well.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in town, you get supplied water from the city.
Yes.
There's pluses and minuses to both.
Absolutely.
I will say if you're buying in this country and you have a well, you should definitely get a water test.
Yes. Yes.
And if you have an FHA, USDA, or a VA loan, the water test is going to be required.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the biggest differences as far as, buying.
And if something goes wrong with your well or your well equipment, once you buy the home, that's going to be your responsibility.
Yeah.
Now, in town, you don't have to worry about that
now.
But you do have a monthly water bill.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So, like I said, pluses and minuses.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes hand in hand with your sewer system.
Yeah.
In the country, you have a septic system.
Yes.
And the septic system can be one of the most expensive repairs a homeowner might have to make.
Yeah.
So we always recommend that you get an inspection of the septic system.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to cost you at least a couple $100s for that. But it could save you thousands if they find something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once again, if you're in town, you don't need to worry about that.
No.
Because, you have the sewer system through the city, but you have a monthly sewer bill.
Yep.
So pluses and minuses no matter which way you go.
Yeah. But when you're buying in the country, those are expensive systems to, repair. So it's pretty imperative that you get those inspections.
And the water test is really important because it's about your health.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that the water is good to drink.
Yeah.
To cook with, because, last thing you want to do is have bad water that you're feeding to your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an extremely important thing to look at, which is why it's, required for FHA, VA, and USDA loans.
Mm-hmm.
But, buying in the country for most people is not about the water or the sewer.
No,
it's about space.
It's about the space, which is absolutely fantastic. It seems like nowadays those properties are harder and harder to find.
Yes.
Because people are holding on to them.
Mm-hmm. Most people are buying in the country or want to buy in the country. They're looking for the acreage. They want the outbuildings.
Yeah.
They want, the farm animals, chickens, goats.
Yeah. The things that, aren't necessarily super convenient to have in town.
Exactly. In town, you got smaller lots, but there's more walkability and there's less maintenance.
Yes.
So once again, it's pros and cons.
Yeah.
What works best for you? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
What's your lifestyle?
Absolutely.
Another thing to think about too is rules and restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in town, there might be certain rules about the height of your fence.
Yeah.
What setbacks.
If you can put a building or a shed or a garage.
Now, in the country, there might be townships that might regulate a little bit on your outbuildings or different things. But usually your rules there's a lot less rules, a lot less restrictions. You're more likely to be able to build that outbuilding, have your chickens or your goats.
Yeah, whatever fence you want.
Exactly. So, once again, pluses and minuses. What works best for you doesn't work best for the next buyer.
Yeah.
But, you kind of hit on it a little bit. Inventory.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're looking to buy in the country, it might take a little longer.
Yeah.
There just isn't as much for sale.
No, and they do come up.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like what you're looking for as far as country living also varies person to person. Are you looking for farmland, or are you just looking for a lot of acres where your kids can run?
Are you looking for woods?
You're looking for woods. Are you looking for a pond? Are you? It varies. So sometimes it's a little harder, and it takes a little longer to find the right property for someone in the country.
But most of the time, rural properties are in high demand and they sell quickly.
Yeah.
So as a buyer, you need to be ready to move quickly.
Yeah.
But as a seller, because if you buy in the country, eventually you're probably going to be a seller. That's a good thing for you as a seller.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get, high demand. It sells quickly for top dollar.
Yeah.
So, those are some things to keep in mind if you're really debating about where you'd like to live. Country versus in town. Even things like conveniences.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have kids in sports?
Yeah.
How close to the school do you want to be?
Yeah.
Do you like to DoorDash?
Yeah.
Will there be very many, places that DoorDash to you if you're in the country? What's your internet access like in the country?
Do you work from home? Internet access could be, it's a big deal for anybody, but if you work from home, that could be a really big deal.
Mm-hmm. Noise and privacy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times one of the things that draws people to the country is not having neighbors so close. Being able to be a little louder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things to look at when you're deciding where you'd like to live.
Yeah.
Neither one is right or wrong.
No.
It depends on your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Did you have, what else, should a buyer or think about when they're deciding country or town?
Well, I think that, sometimes you get people who've lived in town their whole life. So all of a sudden the country is really appealing. They want something new, right?
Right.
But there are just differences that you probably don't think about. Like, when the weather's really yucky and, you're out in the country and you have a really, really long driveway. Well, when you're in town, those plows are coming out and you're pretty okay. In the country, that's kind of a different story. Yeah. And now it's kind of up to you to get out of your property. Your property's really great, and that's good because you might be, unless you're, plowing it yourself, you might be there for a little bit.
That's right.
There's also little things like easements. If you're buying a property that's close to farmland, perhaps there was an agreement prior that, someone can go on your property to access their property. So that's always stuff that you don't think about in town. You don't need to think about in town.
Right.
So,
yeah. And that's why you need a good real estate agent to help guide you, answer those questions, and make sure you understand all the ins and outs of buying in the country versus buying in town.
Yep.
So if you want help, trying to find your next home, whether it's in the country or in town, give us a call. We'd love to help.
Bye.